Hello everybody, and this is 4.5, sorry, this should be 4.5, the Hinge Theorem, okay? So we're going to recall how to write triangle inequalities given one triangle, because we're going to need to know that for today. So we're given this triangle ABC, and it wants us to find the range of the third side of this triangle, right? And that range can just be noted by, or that third side could be as x, right? We don't know it. Well, remember, to find the range of the third side is you take the two numbers and you subtract them. Then it becomes a compound inequality here. And then you take the two numbers and then you add them, right, to find the range of the third side. So here we know that the range of the third side is going to be anywhere from 5 to 21. Okay? We're going to need to know that today because in the Hinge theorem, we're going to set up inequalities in two triangles. Okay, the Hinge theorem. Basically, it states, we'll just read it. If two sides of one triangle are congruent and two sides of another triangle are congruent, so that's what we have here, two sides of one triangle that are congruent, and two sides of another triangle are congruent. Cool, we got that. And the included angle on the first is larger, so that's what we have is larger, and the included angle on the second. Then the third side of the first, this is the third side of the first, is longer than the third side of this. Okay, think of it like a doorway. Okay, so here's how you would set this inequality, or to find the range of this value a. Okay, because we cannot find the value of a right away. We just need to find a list of values or a range of values of a. And so since I know that 10 is bigger than a, this is what it would look like. 10 is less than a. Sorry, a is less than 10. But remember, there is also a lower end to this range, which is 0, because, the side of a triangle cannot be the value of 0. Okay, moving on. Let's change this problem up a little bit. Let's pretend actually that this is 55 degrees now, and this is 65 degrees, okay? Let's change it up a little bit. Well, this changes my range because now I know that A is going to be greater than 10, okay? A is greater than 10 here, okay? It has to be because 65 is bigger than 55, okay? There is no 0 on this one because A is greater than 10 and 0 is less than 10, so there would be no lower bound of the range. So I came up with this statement that I find helpful. You might want to write it down. But if the number has the bigger angle, okay, if the number has the bigger angle, then you're going to have an inequality that looks like this. If x has the bigger angle, then the inequality is going to look like this. Okay. And x in this case is a, okay? So if x has the larger, bigger angle, then you're going to have an inequality that looks like that. Okay. Moving on. Let's do a couple examples here. All right. Here we're given two triangles, okay? One to find b, and the instructions in the notes say here, for the following problems, write the inequality for the missing side of the triangle, B, C, and G. Okay, so there's three triangles. We need to find the inequalities for these. Okay, first of all, I have to find out which angle is bigger. Well, 45 is bigger than 35. Okay, so I know that actually B is going to be larger than 11. Okay, B is larger than 11. Okay. And remember, B is basically my x in this statement, right? Above in yellow. X has the larger angle, so there is going to be no lower bound. Okay, so let's look at number 2. First, I need to identify my bigger angle, which in this case is 30. Great. Okay, so I know that 4 is going to be on top of my inequality because 4 is associated with the bigger angle, right? Okay, and then I'm going to have my C in the middle. Well, now my x or my c is less than the number. So that means I'm going to have a bottom end of this range, okay? Moving on to the next one, the third one. The third one, you're going to notice something kind of special happens here. There is no bigger angle. They are equal. So here I actually have two congruent triangles. So I actually have that G just equals 8. Okay, before we move on to the next one, so that's a little tricky there. But now we're going to start dealing with some equations. But first I want to talk to you about how to solve compound inequalities, because it could have been a while given an unknown value, which in this case is x. You solve these just like any two-step equation, okay? You're solving for a variable, but when you do this, when you add the 7, because with PEMDAS, right, going backwards, you actually have to add the 7 to all sides of the inequality. And then, again, it's just like any two-step equation for the most part, but this time I'm going to divide everything by 2. So my new inequality is going to look like this, okay? So we're going to need to know that information for the next set of problems, because what you're going to notice on these, like number 1 and 2 here, now there is a statement, okay? It's not just a value, it's a statement. It's an unknown statement, okay? So first, I always like to do is find the bigger angle, okay? In this case, it's 45, okay? So I know that the 15 is going to be on the top of my inequality, okay? And then I'm going to have 4x plus 3. But remember what I said. Remember what I said from earlier, okay? And you can go back to this statement that I made earlier, and it might come in handy to have this written down, okay? If the number has the bigger angle, then 0 is going to be part of the lower bound. Well, what you're going to notice is the number, with just the number, has the bigger angles. So that means I'm going to have a lower end, okay? That means I'm going to have a bottom part of my range. And remember, these get pretty straightforward when solving these. Boom, 4x, great. This is going to be 12, divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. So there's my range for my unknown quantity. This is not the range of my angle. This is the range for my unknown quantity x. Therefore, I can have a negative value, because if I put in that value for x into this equation right here, it will actually be, it should be positive. Or it's probably going to be 0. So anyway. All right, moving on. You can't have a negative on these when you have, whereas these, you won't run into any negatives up here, okay? But these ones you can run. All right, here we go. And that last one we're going to do is we're going to find the bigger angle again, which happens to be 35. So I know that this is going to be on the top end of my inequality, and then my 39 is going to be down here. What you're going to notice about this is the number is less than the x, so I don't need a bottom reference range. Sorry, a bottom for the bottom end of my range. And then I can just solve this like a normal inequality. Okay, so just give this assignment a try the best you can. You might struggle with some stuff, but try to get the easy ones knocked out. See how you do, give it a try, and we'll be back to do some more tomorrow.